Hello, and welcome to One Voice Live, the show where we talk about one voice, what it is, and how it fits into the world of singing. I'm your host, Natalie Rankin, and today I have with me, once again, Miss Alex Zeto.
Hello! So happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for installment number 47, where we're going to talk about how to be a one-voicer in a college program that does not teach one voice, which is most programs in the country.
For there's only one.
There's only the one. Before we get into that, though, I need to introduce to you our second guest. Yes, you heard me correctly. Our second guest, double the fun. I've been saying that all week because I'm so excited about this conversation. We're about to bring on Jackson Perrin. Woo! Jackson is a one-voice coach and master. He is also a songwriter, a rock band frontman, and a yodeler in training. That third thing may or may not be true, but for the sake of today, it is true. Also, his band, Jack of Hearts, just released their newest EP entitled Patterns, which is available anywhere music can be streamed. Jackson, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Double the guest, double the fun.
Thank you for being here. Before we get into it, I want to play a game. I want to go around, I was going to say in a circle, but Jackson's in Brooklyn, so we can't go in a circle. Anyway, I just want to know what you're obsessed with right now. Jackson, can you start?
Right now. Yes, absolutely. I have been really creative lately, which has been really wonderful because these past couple months have been absolutely tough. And so I've been able to just find a new inspiration and been writing again, which has been amazing. And I've been obsessed with exploring new sounds, exploring hopefully a whole new sound for myself in terms as a songwriter as well.
Wow.
That's awesome, Jackson.
That's amazing. I'm obsessed with that too.
Can't wait to hear your stuff.
Right?
The music. Alex, what about you? What are you obsessed with right now?
I'm obsessed with how close we are for this break.
We're snuggling.
We're going to have to cuddle. Good thing we're close. I'm obsessed with the show Ted Lasso. Episodes 1 through 4 are now streaming on Apple TV. This is not an ad.
You're welcome, Ted Lasso, for plugging
welcome.
you.
Yeah. It's just a really cute, funny, wholesome show with a lot of dry British humor. And it just makes me really happy. So go watch it.
Yeah, I love dry British humor.
Me too.
Some of the best humor.
Truly. What are you obsessed with, Nat Scott?
I currently am obsessed with watching DIY home makeover videos on YouTube. Yeah, just redoing things and thrifting things and flipping things and,
Yeah, fun fact, Natalie is kind of my interior designer consultant. Anytime I need anything, I send it to her and I'm like, what do you think?
She's like, what color curtains?
Honestly.
The answer is always mustard yellow,
yes.
in my humble opinion. Awesome. Okay. Fun. So what do you say we jump in to this conversation, you guys?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. To start us off, we have a message from the creator of One Voice, Michael Maresca. Let's hear what he has to say, and then we'll just piggyback off of that. Let's do it. Number 5. And go.
Oh no! You're going to be going to a university or a college program that does not teach the one voice theories, techniques, and training methods. But that's okay, because you are a one voicer, and a one voicer practices open-mindedness. Most singers enter into new situations with new teachers with their fists up, ready to protect what they believe about singing to be true. But as a one voicer, you practice open-mindedness, which means you put the fist down, and instead of fighting for what you believe or what you understand about the human voice, you listen and you learn. The teachers that you're going to be encountering in these programs and these universities have taught all over the world. They performed for thousands of people, and they have taught for decades. They must have something to say. What a shame it would be to overlook that because of a bit of pride. If we can continue to practice an open mind, we continue to open our hearts and our ears so that we can learn. Remember, it's not about being right. It's about things making sense. So if something doesn't make sense to you while you're at your college program, you can always reach out to a one voice coach Or if you have or train with a One Voice coach now, you can reach out to them to check in. But remember, you can always translate what someone else is saying into One Voice terms so you can better understand and make the adjustments that you need to make, or rather that they're asking you to make. Also remember that the teachers you're working with want you to succeed. They're on your side. It's not you against them. It's instead you looking at your future with them and them trying to help you achieve the goals that you want to achieve in your future. So remember to keep curious and keep an open mind.
Well said, Michael Maresca.
Yeah, and that's the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. No, there's so much good stuff in there. I just want to know your thoughts. Guys, Jackson?
My thoughts on what Michael was saying. I really loved some things I wrote down where, like, what a shame to overlook that because of a bit of pride. Something that, like, just missed opportunities, just something that I would love to remind myself of. It's just like, when you have information given to you by these people who are experts, there is always something to learn and always something to collaborate on, even though we don't share a language yet, even though that's something that we want to build and grow towards.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the guiding light is always, for me, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about making it make sense. Mm-hmm. And that I think we can carry into every aspect of our lives, but it becomes so helpful when we're looking at singing and how we want to sound and how we use our voices.
Absolutely. Yeah. Make singing make sense is the motto of One Voice, and we can do that anywhere, in any college program. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that earlier. We were talking in the pre-interview about how One Voice Live, we talk about how One Voice fits into the world of singing. This is sort of a conversation about how to fit the world of singing into One Voice, mm-hmm. rather than One Voice fitting into the world of singing. Because we're always, One Voice is like kind of unknown by the majority of people in the majority of settings where we're going to be singing. So it's our job to, as One Voicers, be open-minded and do the vocal translating, like Michael was saying, mm-hmm. and fit what we know into what already exists.
Yeah. And I think even though our vocabulary and how we define the voice is very different, what we're all after is very much the same. And once you're really familiar with the One Voice terminology, it can become really fast to translate it and hear what someone says, even if they're not speaking the same language as you, and go, oh, I know exactly what you're after, and then give it to them.
Right. Agreed. Cool. So there are a couple principles that I know that the principles of One Voice are introduced in master classes, and I'm sitting here with two One Voice masters. So I want to talk about open-mindedness, scientific mindset, and honesty, and how those principles of One Voice fit into or help One Voicers who are in these college programs that don't teach One Voice.
Yeah. Well, first of all, open-mindedness is so important because the second we decide that we know something, we stop learning. Any opportunity to learn is completely off the table. And like Michael said, these people have been teaching for years and years. There's something they can offer you, especially a listening ear, which is, invaluable. To have someone outside of you and your head telling you, like, this is what I'm hearing. Yeah. It's so important. And even the coaches rely on each other to be listening ears. So I think having an open mind is the only way you're going to get to hear what it is that they can offer you that can help you.
Absolutely. Jackson, what do you think?
Yeah, just going off of that, also as well of these people have a lot to say and a lot to offer. And going off of what Michael was saying, they want you to succeed, they want you to do well, and they want you to be honest about what you are able to understand and what's not working for you. I think that's so new and scary when you're having to deal with someone who has not, they don't know your voice yet. They don't know how you work. They don't know, you have no trust built yet. So it is so easy for something that's so personal and something that you work so hard on to feel like it's being attacked. And I think it just goes back full round circle to what Michael was saying about you got to let go of the pride, and it's not about being right. It's about hopefully what they're giving you is information that makes sense, even within the world that, doesn't speak our language.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like, singing, we all know singing is such a vulnerable thing. And to do it, I mean, we all went to college together, and we all experienced this as little college babies. It's a vulnerable thing to get up and sing in front of a group of people that you don't know yet, and faculty that you don't know yet and that don't know you. And it's so easy to, Jackson, exactly like you're saying, and like Michael was saying, go in with your defenses up and with what you know and like what you're going to stick to, but there's no room for learning there. And if we're just trying to make singing make sense, and we know that we can translate things pretty easily into one voice terms, there's no reason to go up with our defenses up and miss an opportunity. I feel like this is also where honesty comes in as one of the principles of one voice, especially when taking adjustments from a professor, either in a private session or in a master class or a mock audition or some scary situation like that. They're not always scary, but they were scary for me. So really being honest about what you're experiencing when someone's giving you an adjustment. Jackson, can you speak to that a little bit?
When someone's giving you an adjustment, being like open-minded. Well, sorry, what were you saying? I was totally on a different track.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. No, we're talking about, so we covered open-mindedness and going in with our defenses down. But I was talking about another principle of one voice being honesty and keeping your honesty when taking an adjustment and being honest to your coach or your professor or whatever faculty member of what your experience truly is. I know there were a few times in my college experience where I just got nervous and I felt like there was something wrong with me if I didn't understand someone's adjustment. And so I wasn't honest and I just sort of pretended to like, yeah, that makes so much sense. I'm going to go home and practice that. And I just thought it was my fault.
Yeah, I think going off of that, and the reason why it kind of got me on a tangent when I started thinking about going into a program, how often it can feel very performative, even though that this is supposed to be a space for a process. And I think that when I heard honesty, I started thinking about that because you gotta have to be honest about what you want. Do you want to prove yourself in this moment, or are you trying to be honest with yourself and trying to learn in this moment? And that's just what kind of triggered that whole crazy little rant in my head that was going on.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Being honest with other people, but I wasn't even taking into account being honest with yourself. Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, and just on the topic of honesty, your coach isn't a mind reader, and the same way we aren't. And if something really isn't making sense, it is totally within your right to say, hey, that you're telling me to support more. That's not making sense for me. And I think something that could be really helpful in translating is asking for a result from them, saying, what result do you want from me right now? Like going even deeper into the conventional terminology, saying like, is it my tone? Am I too dark? Am I too pingy? Do you want me to, are you hearing too much air? Is it a restricted sound? Like digging and asking questions to figure out, what can I adjust? Is it my vocal tract? Is it my weight? What can I do to give you what it is you're looking for?
Absolutely. I think that beautifully puts us in the third principle that I wanted to talk about, which was scientific mindset. So being open-minded and honest in your feedback with your person who's giving you an adjustment. And if you don't understand, then turning on your scientific mindset and doing that digging to get specific, to see what they're trying to get you to do or to see how they're trying to change your sound, to see if you can do a bit of vocal translating on the spot and do it, or at least start working on it, like identifying the problem. I think there's also no room for learning in like a confused, conflicted state. If you feel like, I don't know what they want from me, like someone just give me the answer, you kind of start to forget that you already have so much information from one voice.
Yeah, when the stakes are high and you start to feel overwhelmed, I feel like curiosity is the first thing to go out the window.
Totally.
And curiosity is gold when it comes to this stuff. I feel like without curiosity, scientific mindset gets really hard.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I
Because
do.
it's hard to dig if that like juice isn't flowing, the why. And on the scientific mindset path, there are only really so many things it can be. It can get really confusing when you're listening to something and you're in your own head and you're like, okay, what's happening here? I feel confused with the feedback I'm getting.
Yeah.
But see if you can slow down, turn on that curiosity, turn on the scientific mindset, and break down what it is, self-diagnose, figure out what are the few things it could be. Is it vocal tract? Am I pulling a coordination? Is it weight? Etc.
Totally.
Etc.
Like,
Etc.
In that, is it just jump in on that?
Totally.
Within that scientific mindset, within that curiosity, it comes with trial and error, right? And that's the only kind of opportunity and time that we can actually practice and also discover. And I love that you said that there is no room for growth without the curiosity or room for scientific mindset. I love that, because if you're trying to sometimes prove yourself wrong a lot of the times while trying to what's working.
Totally. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And there are a couple different settings in a college program. There's going to be private training, probably. There's going to be master classes and like some people call it a studio class, where you're in a group class and like people take turns singing.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a second to learn which of those settings we can really do that trial and error.
Yeah.
I feel like part of the reason that we get defensive is because in front of a group of people, at least this was my experience, in a group of people, I don't want to make the wrong sound. And we like to set up this sort of safe, judgment-free space in our one voice sessions. And you might even have that in your private sessions with whoever your voice teacher is, if you have one at your college program. And that feels like, oh, my creative juices can totally flow and my curiosity is turned on and like it's really safe. But there are some settings in college, at least I feel like in our experience, where it didn't feel that safe. Jackson, what would you say to someone who's in a setting, let's say a class setting or a group setting, where they feel like this, I have to be right here. This isn't a trial and error. This isn't a creative or time for curiosity.
It's tough because when you're in the performance side of it, because you can't get away from that factor. When you're in a setting with people watching you, even if it's a masterclass, even if it's time to learn, I always feel like those were the opportunities I was able to learn when I wasn't in real time having to execute something, right? But when you are in execution, I think it kind of comes back to a lot of the ways that we talk about things in one voice, where you have the creative world, the process that we get to do on one-on-one sessions. But then when you do go up, even though it's for a class, even though it's for a masterclass, a guest, there is a little bit of performance in there that you have to kind of be executing something that is prepared and is finished, even though you have the things on the side that you're currently working on. Like how often do we have times when we're singing something that like, oh, that's not the way, if you're playing guitar, that's not the way I want to execute that lick, or that's not the way I want to execute that run within a song. I know I don't have that yet, but I only have tomorrow to get this done. Mm-hmm. So something that kind of gets away with, maybe like a baby riff, maybe like something that only has like 2-3 notes, not the full 5. You can't trial, unfortunately, sometimes in these settings, what you're doing in the process when you go up to perform, because the fact that there are people to watch and learn from you or have an experience from you, there is a performance added there. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes back to the honesty with yourself. It's like, what do you want from this experience? Do you want to feel comfortable failing? And if you do fail in front of people, isn't that what you wanted all along? To be honest with yourself along the way. Yeah, but if you don't want to fail, if you do want to be executing something really well and showing off and once again, just doing a really good job at being a technician, you have to have that mindset too. Always have a goal. I think that's the whole thing about One Voice, is we're putting targets on a wall as opposed to just trying to sound good, right? Wow. So it kind of comes back down to that, even in a performance setting of a master class. And you got to have that communication with the teacher facilitating it too. What do you expect from me?
Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. This is something I wish we had known in school, right. Is to say like, hey teacher, is this a masterclass where are we bringing our like best 16 and you want us to like blow this person away?
Yeah.
Like performance ready, or are we bringing stuff we're in process of and trying to work on? That's I think an excellent question to ask, because I mean, again, honesty and clarity.
Yeah.
I think I understand why they want that too, is because of course they want to represent the program and their teachings well. But also what's great about that is then you can take adjustments on top of something that you've prepared. And that you're never going to like fail in that way. Then you can fail and feel happy, fail forward in that way then, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to if you're working on something that it's not ready, it comes off being unprepared, even though that sometimes it feels like a process setting. You just have to have that clarity.
Yeah.
I think it's a great translation of that in One Voice language, which I feel like it's been mentioned on One Voice Live before. But we talk about your old car versus your new car in One Voice. So your old car is the comfortable car. It's the car that you learn to drive on. It has served you up until this point. That's everything that you've done vocally before this program or before One Voice. And when it really counts and when you need to perform and you need to do something that you feel really comfortable doing and you feel like it won't fail you, that's when you take your old car out of the garage and take that for a spin and get the job done. But also having something in process, having a new car that you're building in the garage, and knowing when and when not to take that new car for a spin and try something new out.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. I think let's move on to... Oh, yeah. This actually is beautiful. The next point I wanted to talk about was a destination-oriented mindset versus a process-oriented mindset. And that's kind of what we actually just touched on.
Yeah. We kind of perfectly did that.
Yeah, we kind of did, huh? Any last thoughts on that topic?
I would just say, I mean, this is so cliche, but like learning to love the process. I thought when I graduated, I was going to be a musical theater machine, especially vocally. I thought all my inconsistencies were just going to be completely gone, and any time of day I could just sing however I wanted to and just be a total beast. And that did not happen in the way I thought it would. And I don't think that's a realistic expectation, because college doesn't make you a machine. It just makes you a more skilled version of what you already are.
Yeah.
And my skills like rocketed, skyrocketed is the phrase. Rocketed. But yeah, I just think the journey never ends. Us One Voice coaches still have coach sessions with each other where we work on our voices with each other and give each other adjustments. And like literally I'll be Michael, one of us will be coaching Michael Maresca, creator of One Voice, and he'll be like, oh yeah, and I'm working on militant pitch in this moment. And we're like, okay, great. Like militant pitch never ends. Like it just is, we're always working. And so I think the more we can stay in a process-oriented mindset, the less frustrated we'll get, because it's not about getting through this. There's more this forever. Once you're through this, there's more. So yeah,
that's true.
It's how you talk about like bottom of the hill.
Yes. Oh yeah. You're gonna say that thing. You're gonna say. Yeah. I tell my students, and this is what I've discovered for myself. The thing that's going to keep happening is you're going to keep getting to the bottom of a new hill, even when you just climbed a hill. And you have stood on top of the hill and planted your flag in that hill, and then you go down and you're like, oh, look, another hill. So I have a feeling as artists, and just as anyone who's interested in continuing education and always gathering more information and getting as specific as possible, and never being done, we have to get good at never being done. We got to get good at being at the bottom of a new hill and looking back at all the hills we've already climbed and building ourselves up that way. The thing that's going to happen less is waking up and feeling like, oh yeah, I feel really good about everything that I have going on right now, and I don't think I need to improve at all. I feel like as artists, we're always that's sort of our mindset is there's always something to learn. There's always something to get better at.
Yeah.
Going off of what you just said, Natalie, I also think it's so important to be proud of the hill that you stand on and own it, and not to talk about especially when someone's going to be complimenting you, because that's going to be happening because you all are fantastic vocalists and you are executing great things and you're always constantly growing. Don't talk about the hill that you're trying to work on unless it's the space and environment, because that can come off, I find sometimes, like you're not taking in that experience that they had from your voice. Like, be happy where you are, and I hate actually take that back. Don't be happy where you are. Just own where you are and understand that it's awesome that you have a goal and agenda to get to. But when somebody's complimenting you where you're at, they're not saying that you're not good enough because you have another idea in front of you. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
you're talking about like a yummy dissatisfaction. So
Yes.
it's not like, oh, like beating your head against a wall, like I'm not there. It's like, this is everything I have and everything I've built, and I'm so excited and happy with this, and yet I'm working on this new thing, and I can't wait to conquer it.
I'm a work in progress. Yeah, it's being happy in the progress.
Exactly.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
And going back, just to circle back with what you said before about college, like the destination mindset. Oh gosh, why? I just forgot what I was going to say. Oh no, that college is really, what's amazing about it is that it's a community that protects your creativity, or at least it should work for that for you. That's what it should be doing. It's going to be working for you in that way. And when you leave that that beautiful an ecosystem and environment, you it's your job and your duty to continue finding that community, which is what I really am happy to have us, and I'm really happy to have these students that we have, to everyone listening, and Michael. But college is not, like you said, to have it be finished. It is just a great environment to help you flourish in, not necessarily to where you get built and then shipped out as a product. I think that's absolutely something that we always think we're done with. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like the people that we idolize as musical theater machines are probably right now at the bottom of a new hill. I don't think they're done. I hope they don't feel done. Mm-hmm. You know, if they are the artists that we believe they are, I feel like, yeah, they're at the bottom of a new hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also have to say,
oh yeah,
as frustrating as it can be to when you're in the middle of it working towards something, when I don't have a new hill, I realize how fun it is to be working towards something, and how I don't really feel excited about life if I'm not working towards something.
Wow.
And not like an unhealthy, like I'm only what I accomplish way, but just like in a, I like to be moving towards something, and to look back and mark the year as, oh look, I was there and now I'm here. It feels good, and I think we can lose sight of that because we get so frustrated with where we aren't, that we forget, like, this is actually, I would do this anyway because it feels good.
Wow. Yeah, the destination is never as sweet.
Yeah.
Guys, I think we've uncovered something really beautiful and wise. And it reminds me of my favorite Martha Graham quote.
Please.
Which I haven't memorized the entire thing, which I should, but it's like a paragraph long. Basically, Martha Graham, who is the mother of modern dance, said that basically, to summarize, no artist is ever satisfied, which sounds dramatic, but also sounds like a relief. To me, when I heard it for the first time when I was like 15 years old, I was like, thank God. Because I was waiting to feel satisfied and done and finished. And I felt a sense of permission to not be satisfied. She said, no artist is ever satisfied. There's only a divine dissatisfaction.
That's what I was looking for earlier.
Yeah. That makes us feel something like, it makes us...
more alive.
It keeps us marching and keeps us more alive than the others.
Oh.
Boom.
Yeah.
Which is just so inspiring and really lights a fire under me every time I read it or think about it. I also really would like to point out that we are all, three of us, people who have been through college already. We are in a different phase of artistry and of life than people just entering college. And I feel like we're making all these beautiful points and talking about everything so simply. And I want to acknowledge that it will not always feel simple. Sometimes it feels really confusing and discouraging and defeating. And there are dark moments, and we all had them. We are able to talk about it now because we learned along the way, and we're able to reflect on the years that we had in school. But I want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, college was a blast and also so challenging. Like some of the hardest lessons I've ever had to learn. But in my experience, I have learned the most and grown the most in the hardest of times of my life. And college is no exception. And yes, we are speaking of this beautifully because hindsight is 2020, and we get to look back and be like, oh man, if only we knew this. But man, I'm jealous of whoever you are watching. If you're in college or about to start this journey, like, I'm jealous of you. You're about to have like such a incredible ride, and let yourself ride it. Like, go through the waves, feel the moments where you're like inspired and on top of the world, and also let yourself feel the moments when you are like, I want to quit, I'm gonna go be an accountant, because those times will happen. And I hope when those dark times start to pass that you come back to open-mindedness and curiosity.
Yes.
Because those really will be the things that, in my experience, like, will bring you back in your vocal journey and also like in your human journey.
Yeah, 1,000%. I feel like we're talking about singing and life.
Talking about singing.
Jackson, what are your thoughts on that?
It's, I was trying to come up with something, but I was just so really just moved by what you were talking about, Zeto. Like, it's so funny, like, because I'm on the screen, I'm not like looking at a camera right now. I feel like I'm just getting to participate in like the audience side of things. So I can't like think of something while you guys are talking. Yeah, I think that was just really well said and well spoken. I guess the only thing I could add to that is that you have this community, you have us, you have Michael, you have Zeto, Natalie, Michael, Matilda, me, Chris Fordnall as well, and Greg and Marquis, all these amazing people, all these people that are now coaches. You have us to lean on, and that is what you go to college for, is that community. And if you ever feel like lost in the community, or because you were honest, if you feel like that has brought you any kind of turbulence, you still have us, and this is our community to reach out to you as well. We're here for you, and any questions you have, and singing makes sense. And it's so funny to say that, but when I say that, it means like making this thing we love, making our passion, making for a lot of us, the reason why we live makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so easy to feel like you don't know anything when you get into a college program and you get there, and it's like, there is almost a feeling of like, oh, I am not worthy. Like, thank you for letting me into your humble program. Like, you are a full person and you already have information. So if you start to feel a sense of loss or a sense of total hopelessness, coming back to making singing make sense, and those simple, like coming back to the one voice theories, coming back to the principles of being a one voicer, coming back to this YouTube channel as a resource and a library of information. If you're struggling with your vocal practice, there's videos on that. If you're struggling with weight, there's videos on that. There's so much available to you. And also our Instagram as a resource. If you have if you have a specific question or struggle, sending us a direct message. If you're currently working with a coach, shooting your coach an email. We really want to be here for you and be advocates for you.
Yes, 100%.
Amazing. Okay. Final thoughts? I feel like we're in a really good stopping place.
Yeah, I'm just excited for these strangers.
Me too.
Whoever you are, I'm so excited for you. And yeah, I just don't think we can stress enough. Use us. Use One Voice Live. Use our Instagram. Even if there's a second of like, is it worth, like, yes. Message us the question. Because we want to help you guys.
1,000%. All right, I think it's time for us to say thank you and goodbye to Jackson Perrin for being a second guest on One Voice Live. It was so wonderful to have you.
This is incredible. Thank you guys so much
Thank
for having me.
you. We'll see you next time, my dude.
Bye, Jackson.
Bye. And that leaves us to announcements. Our next show will be September 30th, where we will be beginning a new 2-part series entitled One Voice in Artistry. There's going to be some really awesome conversations coming up there. Also, as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at SingOneVoice. Always shoot us a DM, throw us a comment down below. Tell me what you're obsessed with, or share your questions and your thoughts on this installment of One Voice Live. And I want to say thank you so much to Alex Zeto for being with me again. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next time on One Voice Live.